conference. So I can't thank you enough for your support. And now on to our featured presentation. The featured creative presentation titled Love and Peace in Times of Crisis. And we have with us today, I think the first speaker is going to be Dr. Anderson Smith. And Dr. Anderson Smith, he was born and raised in the Bronx, New York. Woo-hoo! And he teaches creative writing and spoken word poetry in medium and maximum security prisons through the organization Rehabilitation Through the Arts, where he also serves as the diversity, equity, and inclusion facilitator. He has conducted seminars and lectures in various conferences, including the American Educational Research Association, National Association of Foreign Student Advisors, and National Council of Teachers of English around literacy and metacognition. He is currently researching the effects of literature when used in service to people with criminal conviction histories post-incarceration. Smith earned his PhD in English education from Teachers College, Columbia University. He is currently a professor at Hunter College in New York. He teaches Introduction to Urban Education, topics and issues around diversity and equity, and methods in teaching of writing. Welcome. And we also have my dear friend, Dr. Yolanda Celia-Ruiz, who's been a staple at Transitions and Transactions, along with her doctoral students. Now, she is an award-winning associate professor at Teachers College, Columbia University. Her research focuses on racial literacy in teacher education, Black girl literacies, and Black and Latinx male high school students. She is a sought-after speaker on issues of race, culturally responsive pedagogy, and diversity. Celia-Ruiz works with K-12 and higher education school communities to increase their racial literacy knowledge and move toward more equitable school experiences for their Black and Latinx students. Dr. Ruiz appeared in Spike Lee's Two Fists Up, We Gonna Be All Right, a documentary about the Black Lives Matter movement and the campus protests at Mizzou. She is co-author and with Detra Price Dennis of Advancing Racial Literacy and Teacher Education, Activism for Equity in Digital Spaces, which was published in 2021. She is a co-editor of 3 academic books and author of 2 books of poetry, Love from the Vortex and Other Poems, which was published in 2020, and The Peace Chronicles, which was published in 2021. Congratulations and welcome.
Wow, thank you so much. I'm turning it right over to you, Dr. Anderson. And I just wanted to say thank you to this beautiful community and to the beautiful and brilliant Dr. Margaret Barrow, Stephanie Oppenheim, and Manya Steinkohler. I hope I pronounced it correctly. If I didn't, please correct me now. Okay, and that's it. I just wanted to say thank you for having us. Anderson, to you.
All right, peace everyone. My name is Dr. Anderson Smith, and my pronouns are he, him, and his. And before I begin my presentation, I just had a few things that I'd like to say first. First, on April 23rd, my beautiful wife and I will be celebrating 6 years of marriage. Rosalina, I don't thank you enough for the love, support you show me. Thank you for always being in my corner. Now, to the organizers of this timely conference, thank you for extending the invitation. And finally, my mentor, Dr. Yolanda Celia-Ruiz. It is an honor to share a space with you. Thank you for showing me how to bring my full self in every situation to the work that we do to heal the broken society. So my research is built on the foundation of bibliotherapy, which literally translates to the therapeutic value derived from books. I use the use of bibliotherapy in the United States can be traced back to the 1800s with Dr. Benjamin Rush, a physician who prescribed Bible scriptures to his patients. When I think about our session, Love and Peace in Times of Crisis, it recognizes the role books can play in making, to echo the title of this conference, transitions and transactions. I'm reminded of the work of Dr. Rudine Bishop, who explains the various pathways to which a reader could experience literature as follows. Books are sometimes windows offering views of the world that may be real or imagined, familiar or strange. These windows are also sliding glass doors, and readers have only to walk through an imagination to become part of whatever world has been created or recreated by the author. When lighting conditions are just right, however, a window can also be a mirror. Literature transforms human experiences and reflects it back to us. And in that reflection, we can see our own lives and experiences as part of a larger human experience. Reading then becomes a means of self-affirmation, and readers often seek their mirrors in books. Paulo Freire is quoted that liberation is praxis, the action and reflection of men and women upon the world in order to transform it. Now, I focus on the word transform in Freire's quote, which makes me consider that inward transformation precedes outward change. Therefore, one would have to exemplify the transition that they wish for their surroundings. Freire would argue that transformation must therefore begin with the self. Now, this poem is entitled, my first poem is entitled, The Mirror, the Window, the Sliding Glass Door. This poem is a mirror. For some, a window, for others, a glass door. Try walking a mile in this black man's shoes. I wonder how long you would last for. You see, ignorance breeds fear. And the only way to conquer fear is to make the unknown known. So I hopped on the back of my ancestors, and tenfold my knowledge has grown. You see, the problem with mirrors is distortion. And if what you read in books reflects you but a portion and shapes your image in a backwards contortion, then you should recognize when our children cannot find themselves reflected in books, in society, they are at a disproportion. You see, mirrors show us what we look like and not who we are. Some people need mirrors to be reminded of who they are. Some people need people to be reminded of who they are. Some people can't even stare at their own reflections. So I count my blessings like the days of the Black History Month, sometimes 28, sometimes 29. And I remember that the eyes are useless when the mind is blind. This poem is a mirror. And as they say, attract what you expect, reflect what you desire, become what you respect, mirror what you admire. Reading them becomes a means of self-affirmation well beyond the looks. Readers often seek their mirrors with their selection of their books. Bell Hooks reminds us not to have our lives narrowed down, so while we struggle, we still move on the margins and don't even make a sound. Sometimes the margins are the best place to be, and sometimes if all we look for are mirrors, it ignores other perspectives that are important to see. This poem is a mirror. For some, a window, for others, a glass door. Try walking a mile in this black man's shoes. I wonder how long you would last for. You see, our pens became our swords. Our knowledge became our shields. It's impossible for us to yield. No longer banking knowledge, we opt to problem pose through action and reflection. We use books as windows. That vicarious experience saved my life and gave me options of what to do and not to do, conditioned connections through thoughts. I formed mental cues. And as I shaped my world and passed that threshold of the sliding glass door, I journeyed with others with new eyes and we explored. So think critically, love critically. Give more than you receive, and remember, what we do is more important than what we say or what we say we believe. Peace, y'all. Peace.
Wow.
Thank you.
You know, I've heard that before, Anderson. It hit me different today. It hit me different today. I wish we had longer time to do like Q&A because I have so many questions, right?
Yes.
But before I build on the beauty that you just shared, I just wanted to know if there was another piece that you wanted to read.
I have one more piece. I'm gonna try to be as quick as possible. I know we don't have that much time. We got about 10, 20 more minutes. So I'll get right into it. This is titled Us, okay? Flames like the memories of our past. Our history, our scars, our reminders that were meant to last, our past hours, reincarnated back to hard flames like our struggles, our lessons, our shepherds that we shall not want. Before iPods, we had MP3s. Before MP3s, we had CDs. Before CDs, we listened to cassette tapes. And before we used rotating blinds, we walked through beaded drapes. You remember those days? Flames like the memories of our past, our history, our scars, our reminders that were meant to last, our past hours reincarnated back to hard flames like our struggles, our lessons, our shepherds that we shall not want. Before Nintendo DS, there was SP. Before SP, we played Game Boy Advance. Before I realized what they were doing, I knew that Sega didn't stand a chance. Before Dave Chappelle, there was Eddie Murphy. Before Eddie Murphy, we laughed at Richard Pryor. Before we even had a chance to speak, we were all labeled liars. Before I could work, before I had a job, I was presented with money. And before we broke out the Robitussin, we mixed up what? Lemon and honey. You remember those days? Flames like the memories of our past, our history, our scars, our reminders that were meant to last. Flames like our past hours reincarnated back to hard. Flames like our struggles, our lessons, our shepherds that we shall not want. So we use technology to shorten the distance created by social distance. From WhatsApp, Flipgrid to Zoom. It's funny how life forced us to sit still so we could finally hear that laughter in the room. Now do you see what matters? Like a thought trapped in a room, we pushed ourselves beyond extremes. We imagined a new reality and took hold of our dreams. Encoded our visions, layered it with pride. Foundations of love were no longer trapped inside. Time, truly a gift from the heavens, I'd say. Now that the world sees us for who we are, we're sane on this day. Masters and doctors, look how our thoughts became things. Our imaginations took hold, and if we remember this, we're prepared for whatever obstacle life brings. Now do you see what matters? So we wrote as representatives of our groups. But when we spoke, we were recognized as leaders, and with our right hands, we shared our knowledge. That's why they call us mind feeders. You see, we move like our hands that move like us. Before the lies, before fake news, there was once a thing called trust, so we wrote as representatives of our groups. But when we spoke, we were recognized as leaders, and with our right hands, that's WRITE, hands, we shared our knowledge. That's why they call us mind feeders. Our hopes and dreams watered our seeds of ambition, so we wrote with the fires that sparked our dreams. We wrote with the fires of our befores and afters. We wrote through our pain and our memories of laughter, before and after, like cause and effect, like choosing a path, and read so many books and articles to our necks. So we wrote for us, and those who found a voice, we spoke for them, and we harnessed the power of we. I said we wrote for us, and those who found a voice, we spoke for them, and we harnessed the power of we. We wrote with the fire that beats our heart. We wrote for the people who were there from the start. We wrote, and we're still writing because we never forgot, because after our struggle, we were presented with glory. And after we picked up our pens, we wrote our stories. And we used technology to shorten the distance created by social distance. From WhatsApp, Flipgrid to Zoom. It's funny how life forced us to sit still so we could finally hear that laughter in the room. Now do you see what matters? Peace, y'all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, that is, I have to say, almost, if not absolutely impossible to follow. Thank you so much, Anderson, for your brilliance, for all that you bring in your work. And please, let's give it up for Dr. Anderson Smith.
Yeah, I'll put my my Instagram and Twitter in the chat. Please feel free to follow me.
Okay.
So the few things that I will say is I'll hold on to, so much of what you said. First, I want to share that we thought about love and peace in the time of crisis because of the very moment that we're in, and that we've been in for 2.5 years. And one only needs to look not too far on the television to see really the collective trauma, right, that we have been experiencing through COVID-19, and recognizing how particular communities, right, have bared the brunt of this pandemic in so many ways. And for me, quite personally, during COVID, I was able to publish 2 books of poetry, one called Love from the Vortex, and other poems, that's the love. And it was the self-love that I really discovered, and the Peace Chronicles. And of course, the peace that coming out of the vortex that I was able to discover. So we wanted to share, or at least I wanted to share, a little bit of love and peace as connected to being in a time of crisis, finding that love and peace within, particularly in a time of crisis and in a time of isolation. But when you said, quoting Freire, transformation begins with the self, I connect so deeply with that, with my own research on racial literacy development, and specifically archaeology of the self, doing those deep excavations around our beliefs, certainly beliefs and stereotypes around race, class, gender, sexual orientation, but engaging in archaeology of the self, who we are. Who are you as a teacher, as a lover, right? Who are you as a partner, as a friend, as a niece, a nephew, a mother, father, aunt? So what are the beliefs that we have around these roles that we play in our lives? And archaeology of the self invites people to do that. So what I want to do is, in the spirit of self-discovery, self-digging, self-knowledge, self-love, in the spirit of, for me, poetry being a mirror, as well as a window and a sliding door, I want to combine these themes of love and peace in a time of crisis with mirrors, windows, and sliding doors, and read a poem from each of the books, a very short poem, first from the Peace Chronicles, and a longer poem that I've never read publicly, from Love from the Vortex. So this is the cover of the Peace Chronicles. I want to share that it's original art. I own the artwork. Dr. David Icard, please look him up. He's amazing. He's a professor of race and Africana studies at Vanderbilt University. Yes, as teachers and academics, we are multi-talented in so many ways. And this was an opportunity for us to collaborate. And of course, there's a story behind the image that we don't have time for today. But the Peace Chronicles, I'm going to read Ecclesiastes 2:18. When the clock strikes, will you be able to hear it? Will I be able to recognize its signal, time to embrace or release you? How will I maintain the gift that God has given me, a door out of the vortex, one where I can see all that you have done to me? With 2020 vision, I walk away from you and towards peace. Happiness is mine to hold. I open my heart to this and welcome myself home again. I lost a bit of myself in some of these relationships that I recount in Love from the Vortex. Let me make this quick announcement. I put it in the chat. For those of you in New York City, last Friday, I was completely blessed to be a reader in a concert that was held around my poetry. The classical music group, Dakota, they've played at Carnegie Hall, they played at Lincoln Center. They're a group of avant-garde classical musicians who put out a call for compositions around my book, The Peace Chronicles. And so last Friday was part 1 of the concert. And May 13th, if you're free, it's a Friday. The tickets are reasonably priced for students and others, is part 2 of the concert. And I'm excited because I've not yet heard I only hear the compositions the day of. So this has been a joy for me as well. And everyone is invited. Please also share with your students. So Love from the Vortex chronicled, I'm looking at the time, I can get this done in 3 minutes. It chronicled my relationship with 6 men that I chose to love over 30 years, including my own husband that I was married to for a number of decades. So time almost stood still, but that's love from the vortex. So this is the poem, Him, Her, You, and Me. Each lover has a section in the book. And I want to say, because I'm a researcher who believes in full participation, each lover chose his name for the book. They chose a pseudonym because this was not about me putting all my business out and theirs. So each section is a pseudonym for the lover. And this is from the section on Tyrone. Tyrone nearly took me out, y'all. I'm so glad I discovered love for myself. This is him, her, you, and me. I exist between a mirror and a window when it comes to our love. I am treating her the way you treat me, aloof and nonchalant. While I have no romantic feelings for her, I realize the value she brings to my daughter's life. I have learned to keep her close, but at a distance. I have learned how to do all of this from you, my most valued teacher. The mirror she holds allows me to see you, us. It allows a view into an immediate future that is vacant, hopeless, blah. Here is the mirror reflecting all that I have come to know and appreciate about myself, leaving the wisdom and the protection of the vortex, entering a world of full presence. I embrace that I am special, kind, beautiful, worthy of a man's time, attention, love. I am queen. I desire that my man, my partner, yet to both love me and be in love with me. The temporary and the permanent is what feels right. Through this window, he passes words and thoughts most deserving of me. As they flow, they are pleasing to my heart. These words feel fresh, but familiar. He is speaking to the woman I once knew. As I am now awakened to the fullness of me, I recognize that what you offer no longer fulfills. In truth, it never did, but I became accustomed to sacrificing myself for the joy of others. Well, dear, it has now come to this. Until you shine the mirror on yourself and remove the fog from the window where you view me, you may never really see me. To see me may mean you have to see yourself anew, a new you not ready to face a world of friends and family from which you seek and need approval, grace, love. My love is not strong enough to make you defiant. You did not receive the full power of my love when it was being passed freely and openly through my window and into your hands. Thank you.
Amazing. And how it flowed too. It flowed like perfectly too.
Mirrors, windows, sliding doors.
Perfect.
Thank you for your time. We're sorry we went a minute over, but Dr. Anderson and I are so grateful to have been in community with you today. Thank you so much.
Both, Dr. Yolanda Sealy-Reese and Dr. Anderson Smith. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great rest of the conference.